Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 in a best of 5 between Gonzo and Włochaty in the grand final of the second European tournament. We're finally here guys after 2 months of daily Steel Division content. We've got ourselves to the final and boy, it's gonna be a good one. A best of 5 between two very good players, and I cannot wait to get into it. So today the map is Sainte-Mère-Église, and on the Allied side Gonzo is going to be using the 2nd Armoured French, and on the Axis side Włochaty has the 2nd Panzer at his disposal. I am actually very surprised that the 2nd Panzer has got through. I think that on a map like Sainte-Mère-Église they do very well due to their infantry, the Sturmgrenadiers in Phase B, alongside the support of the Panzer IVs and so on. However, the French, they may be able to counter the power point of the 2nd Panzer with some very strong Phase B plays. So once the 2-star Shermans come in, the Shermans with the 76mm guns, they may be able to cut through the armour that Włochaty is relying on. Now Włochaty can bring in the Panther D, the Alpha Colour Panther D from the Recon tab, but it does cost 300 points, which is quite expensive, so it's normally quite unlikely that they'd bring him in. But he does gain access to other units. I think the Jagdpanzer is a good choice in Phase B for the 2nd Panzer, so we may see those. But they don't really suit the territory as well, unless Włochaty has made some ground on this bottom side and can utilise the open ground. Let's have a look at some of the units going down anyway for Gonzo on this top side. So we see that Nueve here, there's going to be 2 units of Nueve with the command infantry. There's some spy, and then we have the voltages and the M5A1 Stuart. For the town, it's going to be 2 units of flamethrowers with a bazooka squad and some voltages. Further down, it's going to be voltages and an AT gun. So looks like Gonzo is going to be trying to push pretty hard for this top side, take control of these orchards and break through up there. Meanwhile, on the side of Włochaty, on the bottom here, we see 2 units of Sturm Pioneers supported by some command infantry, a couple units of Panzerschrecks in the 250-10s. These 250-10s can actually be pretty deadly, especially when they have 3-star veterancy with command nearby. But further up, we see a unit of Sturm Pioneers is going to be a unit of Panzergrens, and then we have some command with those and another Panzerschreck. So 2 sort of task forces so far for Włochaty. I assume he's going to put at least 1 unit in the mid, otherwise it will cause a rather large salient in favour of Gonzo. And considering Gonzo will not have actually invested many points into the town himself, that will be a lot of free territory that Włochaty is giving away. So there we do see the 1 unit of Panzer Grenadiers coming down just to stop that from being an issue. But otherwise, Włochaty will be looking to counteract this push on the top side with his force of units up here, the Panzergrens and the Panzerschreck. So the Panzerschreck is going to be absolutely crucial to take care of some of these half tracks as well as the M5A1. So those are engagements we will have to wait and see. On this bottom side, it looks like it's just going to be the 1 250-10 actually taking up position there, whilst the rest of these forces are actually coming in from the bottom straight into the town. So that is not something I expected, but a rather nice play there from Włochaty. Something to consider when you play Sainte-Mère-Église, because generally what can happen is if, say, a Stuart is on this main road, the deployment of your infantry could be pretty awkward. So I actually really like the way that he's brought in his infantry from the bottom side of the town here, as opposed to down the main road. But now we can see on the top side, Włochaty moving in with the Panzerschreck. There is no recon here, so he is quite reliant on his infantry moving through the tree lines in order to spot his targets. And the Panzerschreck here, that is going to be spotted almost immediately. It is going to take out one of the M5A1 half-tracks, and the 250-10 actually takes out the 2nd. That is very nice indeed. Also an internal fragment onto the M5A1 straight off the bat, and the Panzerschreck survived that. that is a very nice initial engagement here for Włochaty, because Gonzo put a lot of eggs in this basket, and all of a sudden, many of those are gone. 2 50 cal half-tracks and the Stuart out of commission with the first few engagements. That is quite substantial. And now, without that 50 cal fire support and the Stuart out of the way, these half-tracks have the potential to just wipe out this infantry very quickly indeed. Now Gonzo is very quick to bring in another M5A1. Meanwhile on the bottom side, it does look like the 250-10 managed to find a kill onto the half-track, so nice job there. Flamethrower squad is going to try and get the better of the Panzer here. Forces them out of the building for the time being. Them Pioneers will be looking for that flamethrower engagement, I'm sure. Unless the Panzer can use its rifles to take them out at range. But keeping the command alive is something that I hope Włochaty has improved on throughout this tournament, because generally it's a weakness that we've seen from Włochaty. He keeps his command very close to the frontline units, and generally that can punish him quite a bit. Now, without using the half-tracks aggressively here, it looks like the infantry has more or less stayed alive. One of the Vulture's squad did need to fall back, but now we have the M5A1 in position, and Gonzo is actually going to invest in supply early on to fix the internal fragments of the M5A1 and give it that ammunition it needs. Sturm Pioneers, they moved up to the church, found a bazooka squad, took that out. Flamethrower squad on the bottom side has been taken out as well. I think Włochaty has realised that there's not much AT left here after that bazooka went down, so he can exploit them in the town here to take care of the Vultures and the Flamethrower squad there. These Panzergrens, though, they're going to have to be very careful. Flamethrower squad going to be looking to surrender them. I think Gonzo realises they have command. He's going to be backing off there. But Nueve, they've come through the tree line, they've just taken out the Panzerwreck on the top side, and I just love how these two players are up in each other's faces, making aggressive plays, regardless of the damage that they are taking. Now, these Voltigeurs, with the 3-star half-tracks hitting them in the face, are going to take a lot of damage, but that is a clean shot from the M8 Spy there. Takes out that half-track very easily indeed, and now the 250-10 going to be getting into cover. Meanwhile on the top side, another half-track goes down. Infantry engagements open up again. Nueve trying to get the better of the Sturm Pioneers across this orchard here, but managed to clean up the command in the process. Very nice. Also the 253 taking a weapon jam from the M5A1, and now the Panzergren's going to be pinned and absolutely destroyed by the 30 cals here. All of these units are running for their lives. This is a lot of aggression coming in from Gonzo. Those M5A1 Stuarts need to be countered sooner than later, otherwise it could get out of hand. There is a Panzer IV on its way, but this close range engagement could still favour the Stuarts in this scenario. So Włochaty has to be very careful. Meanwhile, bottom side, AT gun takes out a half-track as it tries to make a move. But look at this. The M5A1, it's moved, it's fast moved right down into this orchard, and now we'll be looking to take on the Panzer IV at close range. It has just revealed itself by taking out that Stuart. Before that, I don't think Gonzo really knew it was there, but that managed to one-shot one of the M5A1s. Now it's just going to be taking cover for the time being. It looks like the M8 Spy is going to be moving up to the top side to join that engagement. So Gonzo probably going to be looking for a 2v1 on that top side. Meanwhile on the bottom, Włochaty putting on a little bit of pressure. Panzergrens do get the better of Vultures at range, and he knows it, so he is trying to take advantage of that to find himself a little bit of ground to counteract the aggressive push that Gonzo has made up here, because Gonzo is currently pushing the +1, getting a few points on the board. Now we're seeing the M8 Spy engage the Panzer IV. M5A1 Stuart going to be engaging at close range. Wow, lucky there not to die to a 2-star Panzer IV at that range. Spitfire Mark 9 going to be coming in with a strafing run. It really looks like Gonzo wants to get very aggressive here, but the Panzergren might just save the day, and there is a Panzer II waiting for this Stuart to come through. Can it find the kill? Looks like Gonzo's going to think better of that and start to withdraw, but Włochaty does have the off-map coming down, and that could cause the M5A1 to lose out. Meanwhile in the town though, Sturm Pioneers getting the better of infantry and half-tracks. Panzerschreck does take out one as well. Very nice plays here from both sides. Włochaty trying to make ground into the town, whilst Gonzo puts his forces on the top side here and tries to push on through. Now, like I mentioned, the off-map has forced back the M5A1. This Nueve is pinned down. Panzer IV has now recovered. The M8 Spy is going to have to be very careful, but does score a ammo storage hit. At this sort of range, it does have penetration value, but very limited penetration, especially as the Panzer IV continues to retreat. Flampanzer, that's not Flampanzer, sorry, these flamethrowers, they are just down to one man. The Panzer Grenadiers will still struggle to get in their face though, since they are in heavy cover and do have a flamethrower. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Gonzo is going to notice the advance of the Panzer Grens and fall back his infantry there to keep them alive to fight another day. Meanwhile, on the top, the smoke dissipates and now the Panzer II and the 253 will be engaging that infantry squad. Panzer Grens will continue their push down here, and you can see that the territory has fallen +1 in favour of Włochaty. Just briefly, but enough time to get 76 points on the board, which could make quite a big difference in the long run. Either way, Włochaty is controlling this town right now, and it's going to be very, very difficult as the game progresses for Gonzo to contest it, because a lot of Gonzo's good infantry comes in Phase A. When you move to Phase B and Phase C, yes, you get sappers with the bazooka and the close range HE grenade, but they're not as good as things like Sturmgrenadiers, and therefore you won't be getting as much value for money out of your infantry, and therefore a town fight is not ever going to be good throughout the game. Now, Włochaty has made a lot of ground so far with this off map, and I really like how he's used it, but a little bit risky getting this close to an M5A1. Is going to manage to find the bailout though through that 6 front armor with the 4 AP. Obviously he gets 8 AP with the range increase, but that is a clean hit there onto the M5A1. That's looking to be killed by the 250-10 as well, which is looking at more or less 11 AP at that range. Really, really nicely done. Cleans up one of the M5A1s. The other two have to retreat to the off map, and Włochaty seems to have a very, very good grasp on this game, as we are 50 seconds off Phase B, which is not good for Gonzo. Ideally, as the French, you want to be in that position to springboard yourself into Phase B, where you can really utilise the Shermans. But in this case, it seems as though Włochaty has already got the better of Gonzo, and that is going to cause issues, because Gonzo's now going to be hitting a brick wall in terms of that income. 250-10 though, looks like that AT gun's going to do the job. It took out two 250-10s, and now the Panzer IV is going to have to back off slightly. It doesn't want to suffer the same fate as those half-tracks. Panzer II, I think it was briefly aiming at either one of the M5A1s or the Nueve, but here comes the M5A1. It's going to bail out the Panzer II in the first shot, but I think all of the off-map is used. Of course, losing the 20mm tank is not ideal, but it is what it is. Can't live forever. Panzer IV now engaging an AT gun at range. That is not great, but let's have a look on this bottom side. Nueve has come in with the 50 cal half track, and that's allowed the Nueve to get the better of the Panzergrens and the Panzerschreck here that were holding this bottom side. Meanwhile, on the top, the Panzer IV is going to be killing off the half track. Flak 38 is going to help pin down and surrender a unit in this building, but whilst Gonzo is starting to make ground again on the top side, you see he's also managing to do so on the bottom side. So this may quickly turn into Gonzo's favour, especially with the arrival of an M4A3, which we can see Gonzo has brought in here, one of the 76mm. So Gonzo is going to be getting aggressive again with these M5A1s. As long as this Panzer IV remains at range, it can probably stop the M5A1s from making too much ground. But saying that, there is a gap in the trees that will allow the M5A1s to completely bypass the Panzer IV, especially if Gonzo can keep eyes on it, which he currently has. Right, meanwhile, we can see that Włochaty is trying to solidify his position in the town, since he is losing ground on the bottom and the top at the same time. So this is kind of his saving grace at the moment. The initial play in the town to find as much ground as he did is really, really helping him out. Gonzo potentially going to be losing his command infantry here if he's not too careful. They're going to go down. But here comes an M4A2. That will definitely assist Nueve in trying to breach the side of this town. I do think it's a bit futile continuing to push into this town at this point though. I think Gonzo is definitely better off trying to encircle the town and cut off reinforcements. And it does look like that's what he's trying to do, especially with the positioning of these M5A1s. You can see he has managed to catch out one of the half-tracks bringing in Sturmgrenadiers, and that's going to end up pinning them down. Now the Panzer IV are going to have to reposition in order to counter that. Meanwhile on the top side, oh, this is going to be nasty. Panzerschreck left behind actually misses its shot onto the M4A376, but did Gonzo notice? I'm not sure he did. It's going to take a shooter wound. It cannot continue, surely. I think Gonzo just hasn't noticed. Panzerschreck, can it get off a third shot? It is going to be successful in doing so. That is a huge kill because that takes away any opportunity for this Panzer IV to die now, whilst it is countering the two Stuarts that pushed on that very top side. So, if those Stuarts now go down, the territory on the top side could completely swing in Włochaty's favour with that kill. Really, really careless play there from Gonzo. Allows his M4A3 to go down. Of course, he didn't realise that there was a Panzerschreck there and got ambushed by it, but couldn't react quick enough to stop his tank from dying. Now we're going to see the push into the town. I mentioned the sappers before, with the bazooka, with the TNT there. Can they get the job done though? Włochaty will be able to invest in things like Sturmgrenadiers, as well as probably a couple more Sturm Pioneers, and that could just make things very difficult for the sappers to make ground. You can see already there, just under fire from a bit of MG42. They do take 4 men down. Pack 40 can take out a half-track on the bottom side, and with that half-track gone, it leaves the 251 Superior in the area, which could potentially take out the voltages, but AT gun does have it covered. 250-10 on the top side, trying to be cheeky, doesn't quite make it work. Sappers now pushing into the town quite aggressively. So regardless of the M4A376 going down and one of those Stuarts, Gonzo is still maintaining the superiority in terms of land. He has 54-55% territory with the +1. He also used the Spitfire there to gain supremacy over the Sturmgrenadiers. That's going to open up a lot of ground on the bottom side here. +2 now. Sappers, they're going to continue right into the face of a Pack 40. Sappers will be able to use their HE grenade, and it's very unlikely the Pack 40 will be able to escape that. Goes down. Pack 40 taken out. That's 100 points in the pocket of the Sappers. Very, very nice indeed. Voltages on the top side, going to take a Zuka shot at this half-track. Can they land the second one? Yes, they can. Job done. But there goes the Stuart. Panzer IV's coming in hot. And Gonzo's going to have to find a reply. He is going to be bringing in another M4A176. Gotta hope this time, though, that the Panzer IV or the Panzerschreck is not in his way. Sappers, they actually managed to get right on top of the Sturmgrenadiers, and by doing so kill them off quite efficiently actually. Now Sturmgrenadiers, they have 15 HE, but the Sappers, they're not short either. They do have 10 HE at 100 meter range. So if they do get on top of the Sturmgrenadiers, it's a relatively even fight, and they have the HE grenade as well, which a Sturmgrenadier squad does not have. So Gonzo here in Phase B, regardless of the 150 points per minute, is starting to make quite significant leaps in this game. M4A3 takes a clean shot there at Ramsch and internal fragments his tank, which removes all of that ammunition. Now the M4A2 going to be looking for a shot here. M4A376 almost ready to take more shots as well. Can it finish the job? It can. Ramsch goes down. But here comes a Panzer IIc. Really nice use here of the Panzer IIc. Perfect use, I would say. manages to pin down all of their sappers, punishes Gonzo's lack of command, and almost surrenders the entire lot. Gonzo's forced to react with the Spitfire Mark 9, get that bombing strike in there to prevent that surrender from occurring. Meanwhile, on the top side though, with Ramsch gone down, the 250-10 gone down, this Panzer IV is going to be in trouble, especially if it bumps into this M4A2 at close range. It can of course have a decent chance of returning the kill, but just in terms of the calculating the probability, the M4A2 should win at that sort of range. So now włochaty, he's invested into a Puma on the bottom side with the Sturmgrenadiers. He's going to be trying to take back some ground with those. He can definitely encircle these two units of infantry with the half-track and the Puma if he continues to push forwards. He's brought it back to just a +1 for Gonzo. Things remaining very, very close throughout this game. Sturmgrenadiers, wow, look at that grenade. Annihilates that squad, and the M4A376 gets the better of the Panzer IV. That goes down. Sappeurs take out one of the half-tracks in the town. Some very important kills happening here. 2 Panzer IVs are now dead. Sappeurs cleaning the half-tracks up in the town. Now the Sturmgrenadiers, if he can get into range with the grenade and maybe block line of sight with the house, he could maybe find the kill there. That would be really nice. But what has happened, Jagdpanzer is on the field. I mentioned these at the start. Very cost efficient unit, 190 points with the 6-axis and 1,200 meter range. Can definitely put a hold on a French push due to the French struggling to penetrate a Jagdpanzer at max range. And if they can exploit open ground like this Jagdpanzer is, then it does make things very difficult for opposing tanks. So that's going to be one M4 down, but can it take out the next one? It should be able to if it engages at max range. You can see the morale damage onto the Jagdpanzer is significantly less than if a Jagdpanzer hits the M4A3. AT gun in the mid here is going to take out one of the half-tracks that was pushing into the town. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, it looks like Gonzo's trying to bridge the gap here that was opened up by the Puma and the half-track. Continuing to use Spitfire support, Gonzo, to make sure that his infantry can win against the Sturmgrenadiers. włochaty seems to have had enough though, bringing in the Focke-Wulf 190 A8 to have a go. Not sure he's going to win out though. The Spitfire Mark 9 does have better mobility than the Focke-Wulf 190, and therefore the Focke-Wulf actually going to be punished. And this is a 200-point airplane going to be going down to the 125-point Spitfire. That is not good news for włochaty. Very costly attack there, but he's now come in with another Panzer II to off-map the AT gun, trying to take that out so that he can have better use of his Puma on the bottom side. But that is limited by the Sappeurs, which have just come in and killed off one of the half-tracks. He did manage to take out the Nueve with the help of the half-track and Sturmgrenadiers after the Spitfire was busy with the Focke-Wulf, so that's the only good thing that came out of this. But just in general, włochaty is having a hard time making back this ground from Gonzo, and Gonzo's been in the lead for quite a while now. However, I feel as the game progresses and włochaty gains access to better and better units, he could still come out on top. So it's still all to play for, although the Spitfire Mark 9 not making things easy there at all. The M5 half-track going to be trying to surrender włochaty's half-track. The bomber took out that infantry. The off-map did actually kill off the 6-pounder, so that was very nice. This Puma, though, trying to escape from an engagement with the M4A2 that it knows is there. Now, włochaty, he has managed to clean up the Sappeurs in the town here. He brought in some Sturm Pioneers, he's reinforced those with more, and that has sort of opened up the middle of the map in his favour. But this M4A2, that just wiped out that half-track nice and easy. Another half-track has brought in some Sturm Pioneers, but that's nothing to deal with the M4A2. What's this Puma aiming at? It's currently being run down by the Sappeurs. So it does need to get a move on if it doesn't want to get taken out by a bazooka, or at least fallen back. Like, even if this bazooka misses, It's still bad news for the Puma, but it is going to hit the mark, and Puma's gone down. Now the M4A2 takes out another half-track. Can it win the engagement against the Panzer IV? At max range, Panzer IV has the advantage and is going to get the internal fragments onto the M4A2. The M4A2 really crucial to stay alive. Does manage to bounce that shot. Quite lucky to do so. Going to get back into the cover of the orchard. That will stop the Panzer IV from making too much progress for now because of the positioning of this sapeur squad. Meanwhile, in the town, 2 units of volunteers have arrived. It's not often you get to the Phase C fights with the 2nd Armoured, but these volunteers, they were introduced one patch and they have a solid 20 HE at close range. Now, they won't do particularly well against Sturm Pioneers because the Sturm Pioneers will pin them down so quickly, but they have the potential to do a lot of damage if włochaty is not too careful. These Sturm Pioneers, though, they've certainly been working throughout this game, and with this Panzer II and half-track moving down to the bottom side of the town, włochaty has found himself the +1, and what a final this is turning out to be so far. This is only game 1, guys, and there can be a potential 5 games between these two, and if they're all this close, we could be in for a long final, that's for sure. But here we go. Half-track has found the Sturm Pioneers here. There is some recon being brought in by Gonzo. I actually like the use of Gonzo in the the recon in the town here. It's very important to spot units like Sturm Pioneers that can potentially do a lot of damage at 100 meter range, because I think recon infantry can spot a unit, an infantry squad in heavy cover at 200 meter range. So if the spy get into 200 meters of a Sturm Pioneer, they can spot them in that building and allow the infantry to engage before they are within the 100 meter range, which is very important. But włochaty, he's going to be investing in a Flampanzer. That is not good news for these volunteers, because the volunteers, they do not have AT in their squads, and that is a big problem. Oh, nice hit there for the Jagdpanzer. Is going to transmission damage the M4A376. That won't be going anywhere quickly. Gonzo choosing to continue his engagement there just to try his luck on the second shot. Doesn't manage to hit the mark. Now the Jagdpanzer has the advantage for sure. Meanwhile, on the bottom side though, 2-star M4A3 comes in, takes out that Panzer II nice and easy. With the positioning of this sapeur squad and this M4A2 now going to be fixed up, włochaty might not have a very fun time on the bottom side of the map, but he's certainly making a lot of ground on the top here. And another Panzerschreck creeping up. Is that going to be a second M4A3 76 kill with a Panzerschreck? We'll have to wait and see. Oh, the Jagdpanzer manages to find a shot, and that means that it's going to be surrounded. Gepard is going to come in and surrender that M4A3 76. Easy done. włochaty finds the ground on the top side. Gonzo's going to be bringing in the Command M4A2 to try and counter this push. Can he make it work? He's also making ground in the mid. włochaty takes out one of the volunteers. No chance in front of a Flampanzer. So now Gonzo needs to keep these sapeurs alive. They are the only chance that he has in the town currently that can stop the Flampanzer in its tracks and the progress that włochaty is making. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, though, Gonzo is going to be pretty strong. He has an M4A376 and the M4A2 at his disposal. Can the M4A2 on the top side find the Gepard kill? It doesn't look like it will. Meanwhile, however, Sturm Grenadiers, they're going to find and surrender the last unit of infantry that Gonzo had. So what an incredible match this has been. I finally get to catch my breath. But we can now see that the Sturm Pioneers are engaging the Sapeurs. They make short work of them. Again, another Sapeur squad getting absolutely melted in the town. The Flampanzer has been making moves, and so have the Sturm Pioneers. And it just makes things very difficult, and since neither player is actually turning off their Kar 98s, I mean, it's all revealed. So włochaty can play around that quite easily with his Flampanzer. He's going to need some tank support in that town if he wants to work his way around that, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think Gonzo's main chances come on this bottom side. He knows there's a Panzer IV here. He engaged it previously with the M4A2. But I don't think Włochaty will really count on the fact that the M4A2 has been resupplied unless the Sturm Pioneers saw this GMC come in, which is very possible. Either way, the M4A2 is pretty scary for Włochaty to deal with the closer it gets to his Panzer IV, due to the aim time actually becoming an issue. Now these sappers, they found themselves into a really nice position here, whereby they can jump into the building at any moment and get a bazooka on target, and that's exactly what's going to happen. The Flandpanzer came round the corner. It does get taken out by the bazooka, but meanwhile on the bottom side, Panzer IV kills off the M4A2, and wow, that was a clean shot there. It didn't even take a shot itself, so must have been aiming the right direction. Job done. Gonzo making background in the town, but now loses initiative on the bottom side. It's really up to this M4A376 and whether or not it can beat the Panzer IV. Volunteers, they're going to come through, clean up that Sturm Pioneer. Didn't have time to reload. The 20HE just doing the work. This is going to be the engagement we have to look out for. At this range, the M4A376 should win, in theory. But if the M4A3 misses, then the Panzer IV has just as much of a chance to find the kill. Now, I don't think that Włochaty knew that the M4A3 was there, and now has spotted it. He's going to try and avoid that engagement, which is the correct play. You don't want to push an M4A376 at close range with a Panzer IV, because you will just lose. Gonzo's going to try and swing this in his favour with the Spitfire Mark 9, but the Mobilwagen now on the field. On the top side, 231, weapon jammed. Looks like it maybe took a shot from the M4A2. But as the game progresses, Włochaty has taken the lead and is pushing 625 points with a 53% territory lead. Now, since this is the second Armoured, I can't help but feel it's only going to get worse from here, because it's very difficult for Gonzo to keep replacing these tanks that he's losing. And that's going to be another M4A3 going down there potentially to the Panzerschreck. The Panzerschreck does get pinned by the two Spitfires. Nice reactions from Gonzo, but that's not going to kill off the squad. So unless the M4A376 can get the shot on target, the Panzerschreck will be able to get in range and fire again. It's only a matter of time, surely. Either way, Włochaty holding on to this lead so far. The only chance he has is if this M4A3 really stays alive and therefore can push on to the Jagdpanzer. He does have the GMC. That should be making its way up to the M4A376 already, I feel. But Gonzo has actually managed to get these sappers into the tree line. But Włochaty, of course, on his way back, and only a matter of time until that gets into range of the M4A3. Is that going to be a kill? It's not. It bounces. It bounced off the front armor. That is insane. Okay, M4A3 survives to fight another day. Sappers do have line of sight and have opened up with their M1 Garands. It looks like the Panzerschreck is going to be able to get out of there. Sturm Grenadiers, they managed to kill off some infantry on the top side. Spitfire Mark 9 is going to try and continue to pin down the Jagdpanzer to stop it from killing the M4A3. The M4A2 is now engaging the BEO Panzer IV at the town. That is going to find the kill. Sappers, they clean up the Sturm Pioneers just before they get killed off by the off-map themselves. Oh, the Panzerschreck, it's going to go down. It started aiming at the M4A3. Must have come out the tree line slightly. Gets absolutely annihilated. And we're going to see Bazooka come in on the bottom side for Gonzo. That takes out the Panzer IV behind the tree line. There is no heavy armor left on this bottom side for Włochaty. This is insane. Gonzo's managed to find himself the +1. He's pushing on through with the M4A2 at the town. There is now a Panzer IV coming in to try and counter that Sherman play, but that Sherman's in a really good position, and the closer this Panzer IV gets, the harder it's going to be to engage the M4A1. So Włochaty's going to have to find a way to dislodge this, and with his off-map vehicle going down, that's going to be a very difficult ask. Now, Gonzo's done a great job of keeping this M4A376 alive. He's finally bringing up the GMC from the bottom side. M4A3 is going to get the internal fragments onto the 231. I think Włochaty here was potentially thinking of using the 231 to two-side engage the M4A2 at close range, but doesn't manage to do so. M4A3 with the 1,200 meter range manages to stop that from happening. Meanwhile, on the top side though, M8 Spy going to be taken out by the Sturmgrenadiers. They use their Panzerfaust to get the job done. Spy have spotted it, however, which may allow the M4A2 to get involved, but it looks like the M4A2 may have to get a little bit too close for Gonzo's comfort. And now we're stuck at a draw. Now, I don't believe there are any draws in this best of 5. The person with the most points is victorious. So currently, at this stage in the game, Włochaty would win with 739 points over Gonzo's 581. But whether or not that remains the case, I'm not entirely sure, because Jagdpanzer is going to be engaging the M4A376 at close range. The Jagdpanzer goes down. We can see that the M4A2 has cleaned up the half-track on the top side as well, which is going to open up the engagement onto this infantry. This has potential written all over it for Gonzo. He's found the shot onto the Mobilwagen. It's actually bailed it out. If a piece of armor can get through here, that could open up a lot of ground for Gonzo very, very quickly. And if he pushes himself to a +2 for the last 7 minutes of the game, it's going to be absolutely crucial. Now Spear Troop coming in. A couple of half-tracks here, dropping off some infantry. Gonzo really doesn't have to worry about it, though. He will probably know that 251s only bring in Spear Troop with the 2nd Panzer, so doesn't have to be worried about the Sturmgrenadiers, which usually come in the 251 ones. Spitfire Mark 9 comes in with a bombing strike onto the Sturm Pioneers here. That's going to allow the Volunteers to engage those, but the main engagement is really going to be the M4A2 against this Panzer IV. I think what Włochaty's trying to do is distract this M4A2 from attacking the Panzer IV, but I think Gonzo, is he going to make it happen? Oh, the Panzer IV! He sacrifices the half-track. The M4A1 takes the shot. It's reloading when the Panzer IV engages, and the Panzer IV finds the kill. Smart moves there from Włochaty. Not the first time we've seen a play like that in this tournament, but wonderful to see it again. Crazy stuff. M4A376 is going to clean up that Mobilwagen. That's going to open up a salient on the bottom side. Gonzo has found himself the +1. I believe that would probably push him ahead of Włochaty in terms of points. So this is still absolutely crucial. This first game is incredible. M5A1 going to get clean shots here onto the Sturmgrenadiers. Bit of a miss micro there from Włochaty. Unlikely he wanted those to leave the tree line. Actually going to be lucky in that they will survive for the time being, but here comes Spitfire Mark 9 with the Mobilwagen dying on the bottom side. That's going to allow the M4A376 to engage. That's going to open up a +2 surely, and Gonzo now has the lead moving in to the late game, which is something I would not expect against the 2nd Panzer, but it looks like Włochaty really focuses a lot on his Panzer IV play, and we haven't really seen an investment in anything bigger like a Panther. So these M4A3s are absolute king right now. Going to be trying to engage this Puma. The Puma's actually lucky to be alive with that shot. 2-star M4s don't miss very often, especially the 76s with that 6 base accuracy. But here we see a double Puma engagement. I think what Włochaty's trying to do here is have both of these Pumas engage at the same time to potentially find a 2v1, but doesn't quite time it right. The Puma goes down. Flampanzer is going to be pushing aggressively though, but the M4A3 surely just going to kill this Puma nice and easy, and then clean up the Flampanzer that's now being strafed by these Spitfire Mark 9s. Now Włochaty did actually set up a really nice AA base throughout this game with the double Mobilwagen, but now they've been killed off. These Spitfires are free to go at it again, and with that support the M4A3 cleans up 2 Pumas and the Flampanzer nice and easy. Sappers made it to the edge of the town. That's going to be a free surrender onto some Spear Troop, and I'm pretty sure Włochaty is out of infantry at this moment. He's relying on Spear Troop to hold the front line, as well as his recon vehicles, and it's just not going to work out. It's job done for Gonzo. He's found the victory after what was an absolutely incredible first game in this best of 5. insane stuff. I have absolutely loved this game. And if this is a tell of what's to come, then I am so damn excited. Włochaty's going to surrender, and that's going to be victory for Gonzo after 36 minutes and 13 seconds. Gonzo picking up 4,040 kills to 2,555 losses. I think it really came down to value for money with those M4s, and although early on it seemed as though he wasn't getting that, especially with the kill with the Panzer wreck onto the M4A3, just in general, I think he came out on top quite well. And if we jump to these kills, I'm pretty sure a couple of those M4s really paid themselves off quite significantly. Also early on, the M5A1 taking out the Panzer II, that's actually quite an expensive vehicle. I'm pretty sure these Panzer IIs are worth like 110 points a piece. It was interesting to see Włochaty focus so much on the off-map vehicles throughout this game. He didn't have any sort of normal artillery in the form of like an artillery gun. He was completely reliant on off-map. And that was something that kind of punished him when he lost the Panzer IV off-map tank, but I don't think that there was any reason throughout the game that he would have bought an artillery piece otherwise, so it was a bit inconsequential. Either way, M5A1 again doing well early on, M4A2, these didn't do particularly well early on, but then this M4A376 comes in, kills off 2 Panzer IVs. This M4A2 killed a bunch of stuff, but look at this M4A3, cleaned house on the bottom side. Another M4A2 doing well there. Another M4A2, M4A3 picking up nice kills, which do pay themselves off, and that's the key issue here. Also, these sapeurs really went to work in that town and killed off a lot of infantry with both their grenades, but also their close range HE capabilities. So, yeah, props to Gonzo to making it work, especially in the town. I was a little worried that when Gonzo invested quite heavily into the town, that he would burn himself out with those sappers, but the way he managed them worked out ideal in the end, and he made them get value for money before they died, and that meant that Włochaty ran out of infantry entirely to support that town, and it ended up being the other way around. Włochaty burned himself out in the town, which is something I didn't really expect. But there we go. That is it. What a fantastic first game. Gonzo takes it. Can Włochaty bring it back to make it 1-1 in game 2? We'll have to wait and see. Until then, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.